Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Becky Alley.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I like that kickoff jam.
Oh, we'll give a little bit of love out there for the Upper Straits Lake people, a little Seeger. And Mike Tomchek joins us.
Hey, good to be here. You know I'm here and Bob Seeger's playing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He brings some love from Upper Straits Lake and all those, the region, the lake region here in Southeast Michigan. Of course, we bring in David Antonik from Brookstone Realty. Hey,
Good to be
David,
here.
what's
Nice
happening?
to be here. Upper Straits Lake, great fishing lake. Nobody fishes it. Great pike.
They're
Just telling you.
Uh-oh, you guys know the secret holes. You guys can talk later
yeah,
about that.
It's fantastic.
It's going to end up being one of those type of shows where we start talking about bait and angling.
I mean, I'll catch the fish. I just don't want to touch it.
I'll eat the fish. I don't want to even catch it. That's okay. Hey, if you want to talk mortgages, real estate, or what lure is the best one out there, definitely this is the show. 248-539-9797. We are going to give you 1 hour of hardcore mortgage real estate talk. And Mike Tomchek, of course, Paramount Appraisals. Mike, we threw it out there as the teaser that you'll get into what can make your house more valuable. If you're thinking about selling it, you got another maybe a month and a half before spring truly kicks in. Although it's not like that anymore, Becky. It's 365 days buying and selling.
Yeah, that's what's cool about the evolution of Michigan, I would say, is that it used to be like spring, summer, and then you'd have your stragglers in the wintertime, where it hasn't been like that for the last several years. And now people want to go up north even in the winter. Like, I like snowboarding, so it gives you something to do in the wintertime. And Michigan's one of those states that you literally can take advantage of it all year round. And then as far as the sales go, people are trying to, buy now in the winter, right? Thinking that they're going to beat out everyone. And no, everyone's out running around with their pre-approval shanks trying to get that edge. And so now it's just this constant ebb and flow. So I think it's cool about Michigan now.
Yep.
David, already it's Tuesday will be March 1st. So David Antonik, Brookstone Realty, give us your take on the current marketplace. I started off the year and had all these purchases going on and had a couple pick up last week. You tell me what's going on.
I'm still seeing heavy showings and offers on houses that are nice. I don't see any let up this year with rehabbed houses. I know there's a lot of competition for buyers out there with their pre-approval letters running around, and I'm glad Mike's on the show because I have some specific questions regarding what you have to do to increase your house's price. I have 3 clients that are overseas that I'm in charge of rehabbing the houses, so I've got some specific questions in terms of lighting and sewers and those types of things that increase the house's value.
I would like to say something right now. You noticed that he said price, right? He said increase the house's price. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Those are 2 completely different things. And as an appraiser, we're doing evaluation. We're doing the value of the home. Okay, I'm using comparable sales and doing all kinds of extractions and things to value different characteristics, but it's the value. So your sales price very well may be different than the value of the home. Okay, now where that gets a little dicey is a sales price is the agreement or the meeting of minds between 2 people. They agree on a price. However, the value of the home is coming from the market, okay, the sales, the things that have already occurred in the market.
Get that a lot, when we ever have the appraiser on.
My mind just even exploded. Like how he somehow every time he's on here, he puts things so eloquently, right? It's just so go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay, Becky, because when the appraisal doesn't come in at the value, we don't like the appraisal. We don't care what they have to say. So we want to know how to avoid that. So, Mike, it's been going on for 2 or 3 years now, where it's been $10,000 to $20,000, even on the standard house, where your over market value on the 400,000 or 500,000s, those houses we're seeing $50,000, $60,000 over what the city or what the current community is selling for. If I say the city, the community, the subdivision, comparable sales, they weigh heavier than anything else involved.
In fact, we now are tasked at using exclusively comparable sales. We're not allowed to use the cost approach. Now, on some investment stuff, we can use what's called the income approach. Okay, it's a capitalization, but we're not going to get into the weeds on that right now. For investors, we can use that a little bit as part of the valuation. But for the most part, most of you listeners out there are interested in understanding that we are using comparable sales. Sales that are comparable. Notice we've said comparable a few times, right? Comparable sales are homes that are most similar to yours. What someone would consider the best substitute for the subject or your home. That is what we're looking for. So if you live on a main road, a home located in a subdivision is not comparable to your home. If your home is 2,000 square foot, a 4,000 square foot home is not comparable to your home, even if it's in the same subdivision.
Those are some good basics just to dive into the show. 248-539-9797. Again, 1 hour, some serious mortgage real estate talk. We try to lighten it up a little bit. David Antonick, no doubt about it. 3 good things that people need to have. Those buyers better figure some things out quickly and get some mortgage people involved. We always talk about the strength of the approval. Can I afford this house? That is, at the end of the day, can I afford it? Why do I want to buy this house, David? Sometimes I'm feeling as if some of the families out there, they're not dealing with all professionals like you. I'm not going there on this show today. I'm not going to talk about what's going on in your the real estate world with a lot of new agents not knowing what they need to know. I'm not going there.
The agents out there have to start with a good conversation. It starts with an in-depth conversation, and it starts with using the tools that your buyer or seller is coming to the table with. A lot of agents think that Zillow and other apps out there that buyers are using and sellers are using to get a good idea of what they want are a detriment, but it's a positive. You've got to look at if a buyer's coming to you with a list of items that they want. I want a hood fan, I want an island, I want granite, and my price is $200. That's not out there. You've got to be an honest agent. You've got to be able to take all the information in and then come up with an honest answer and a location where you're going to be able to buy that property. It's easy when a buyer comes to you and says, I need to be in XY school district or I need to be close to work. Where it gets difficult is where they come with a list of items that they want and they can't afford that in today's market.
Harvey, can I do your job for a second and ask
Please.
a question? How important is that school district? Do you guys understand that the difference in the value and sales price in those school districts? You notice it a lot out there, and do your clients understand that there's a huge difference?
No. All the specifically, clients will come to me and say, "My kid's this old. I want to be in XYZ school district. I need to be in Birmingham school district, or I want to be just in Bloomfield because of the school district and the costs associated." I don't get into the weeds on what exactly they want in terms of school district. It's my job to be sort of a house whisperer, to listen, take all the information in, and then see if I can figure out what they really want. Right? On the second or third or fourth or fifth time going out on the 20th house you go visit, all of a sudden maybe the third and fourth thing that they had to have, maybe that's not that important anymore. And so it's an agent's job to step in and at that point give some honest advice. It's really difficult to give honest advice in all our businesses right up front, right?
Yeah,
It's
I agree with
difficult
that.
to go in and
I
go,
don't know.
no, you
I'll
don't
stay
need
off of
that.
that one.
You don't need that.
I mean, it's you're figuring out the wants and needs, right? Everyone's going to have like, oh, I need this, right? But then when you get into it, you're like, okay, you really don't need that. You want that, right? So you got to find, what they absolutely have to have, right? It's a necessity, certain things, right? You need to have a 4-bedroom because you have 4 kids, or 3 kids, right? And all that stuff. So, but it is difficult. Most people don't have honest conversations, and transparency is everything. And when you're with a real professional, they're going to assess that. They're going to tell you what you need to hear, right? They're going to mean what they say. And then when you can back that up with intentional action, that's what's separating you from all the other 90% of the professionals out there.
Tons of business out there still. January is down 5.7%. However, that was from all-time highs in 2021. Continued craziness this year with the lack of inventory. Interest rates now have bumped up a little bit. We figured it out. It's about 1 full percentage increase in rates. It ended up being on a $300,000 house, $171. It was about $35,000 in buying power. Did have a buyer call me back, and he's had trouble finding a house over the last 6 months. And sure enough, I shared that great advice, that great information with them. It's always fun for us to tell them, hey, look, your house payment might end up going a little bit. But that does, Becky, motivate some families to start looking at these wants and needs lists a little bit differently. And you have to figure things out. Is the location suitable for you now? And again, are you checking enough boxes to make a transaction happen? Becky, rents are way, way up.
Oh my God, rent is insane. So if you can invest in your own self versus someone else's future and what they're doing in their pockets, do that. I mean, because everything is going up. Milk, gas is crazy right now. So obviously your rent is in that that area, right? So, and even with the rates though, you have people that we pre-approved in November, December, right? That were out there and they cannot find homes. And now we're having to go back and redo those pre-approvals. Why? Because the interest rates have went up a full percentage point since even the first of the year. So everything is going up exponentially, and if we can make that happen, you need to have the conversation immediately. The days of, I want to see the house first and then get pre-approved, forget about it, because you're going to get bypassed right away.
All right, tons to share with you on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We talk about appraisals, insurance, inspections, everything important.
I want to hear about the school
mortgage.
district values. I mean, you touched on that. I need to hear on that.
All right, you got to get you in the right school district. 248-539-9797. Keep it here. Alrighty, welcome back to the show, 916. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can reach us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's 1-800-569-7283. Mike Cohn's there and a whole staff of loan officers there to help you deal with the real experienced agents. Becky, Harry said, behave yourself, Harvey. I'm going to try to behave myself. I won't call all the some loan officers bozos. That would be maybe the harshest thing I would say today. Becky, I saw this week 2 approval letters. One, they were pre-qual letters. People are making offers with pre-qual letters. It said 5-star pre-qual letter. None of the 4 things that were on there made sense. They didn't have the funds to close. They didn't have the income to close. And they're driving their real estate agent around. I mean, I had 3 of them, actually. I just thought of another one. Driving their real estate agent on. And, Joe, if you're out there listening right now, you owe me a call and an apology and a thank you. But anyways, what's going on out there? Becky, we talk about it. We preach on the show. Deal with professionals. Get that strong approval letter. That's what's important.
Well, the problem is what you're describing, right? You have these real estate agents that are, have these pre-approvals. They trust the person that it came from. And in reality, I'm busy. So they're just hurrying up and doing things too quickly. And then when you actually get the information, it is something totally different. And that's why sometimes these first offers that are being accepted are falling apart. And it's almost when you're the backup offer, that's when the pressure's off because the seller's already got burnt. There's a lot of bad pre-approvals out there. And part of it is they put it on this real shiny, nice piece of paper and it looks like it checks all the boxes. But in reality, when it's coming on our desk, when we're unfortunately the second call, we should have been the first call, we're having to undo a lot of the damage. And some of it is very, very fixable, right? I just took one, but on Friday, literally took me 5 extra minutes for me to look at the situation and be like, this is what we have to do. They actually can do conventional, but you have to do this, and it's approving. And it took me a couple more minutes, but that couple more minutes that is now, they have a strong pre-approval. It's actually going to close, and we can turn it very quickly. So be aware of who you're talking to, and just because it's a name that sounds you've heard it before, that doesn't really necessarily mean that pre-approval is worth the piece of paper it's written on.
1,000%, and we keep running into it there. 248-539-9797. David, you want to talk about that? We send strong approval letters out, and the reason why is we vet these, so we make sure they have the funds to close because we look at the bank statements, or we've had deep discussions about the family who's gifting the money. Now we've cleared the funds. Now we talk about income. Sure enough, I was looking at a transaction this week where they've been out looking at houses. He just took a brand new job. Well, the guidelines don't allow you to use overtime and bonuses if you just took the job. Maybe there's an exception, right? Maybe there's an exception out there for this type of transaction. But David, you guys are putting a lot of trust in these lenders.
Well, here's the word on
before
trust.
you answer that, I have a question for you. You're going to get into that, but do you want someone that's going to give you a pre-approval in 5 seconds? Right? Or do you want someone that's maybe going to take, I don't know, maybe an hour, but when they give it to you, that is legit and they actually put some time into that?
Let me look at this from a listing agent perspective. As a listing agent, my seller trusts me, and I have to act as a guardian for every agent that's calling me. I'm the gatekeeper. I'm the guardian, and I have to have a conversation when I get 5 offers on the property and they all have very similar numbers. I have to have a conversation with you, the agent, about you, your loan officer.
You calling the lender?
I will call the loan officer, and I'll call and I'll be upfront with the agent. I'm going to call your loan officer, and we're going to have a conversation. So let's start there, Becky.
Why not?
Okay. You tell me, as a listing agent, what do I need to hear, and most importantly, what are the warning signs? And here's a deal that blew up. Let's talk about deals. That
Wait, did you just say what are the warning signs of
what are
your
the warning signs?
Letters might not be any good. Don't
because I'm busy as a listing agent. I'm busy. I have paint to look at. I have contractors to meet. I have a new listing to go on, and I don't have time to look over your pre-approval to make sure that I's are dotted, T's are crossed. So now that we're talking about it, give me some warning signs of what's gonna go wrong. And here's a typical here's the worst case example: student loans. How many times has your deal blown up with student loans? So you tell me, how do I ask?
No. Our deals don't blow up. Hold on a second. This is you sound like, you know what, David? I didn't realize this. You are used to dealing with this field of different lenders out there that don't do their job.
I get it.
Because that has to do with
but
qualifying.
If I'm
Becky.
getting 4 or 5 offers on a property,
Yeah.
I have to have a script sheet that I need to go over to make sure, because I have to protect the homeowner. Remember, I'm protecting the homeowner.
I've got
to take your offer to the homeowner, present it, and say, this is the loan officer I trust, because because the offer, the deal sort of disappears from me when it goes to you, right? And I have to tell the buyer, listen, now I'm quiet. I've done my job. We've either found the house or I've taken the offer on the listing. Now my seller is looking to me. He's calling me every month or every week. How's the appraisal? Mike, what's going on with the appraisal? Hey, did it come in? Did it come in? You told me that the new kitchen.
Let me jump in on that, David.
Would get that done.
Becky, these transactions are closing within 30 days. Again, David's going to start dealing with me because his experience is that these agents who've been around a while are still dealing with these horrible lenders out there.
Let's answer his question, though. What are the
lenders.
warning signs, right? You're going to make that phone call and be like, have you pre-approved it? Did they send you all the information? And be like, yeah, right? It's going to be like a record. But you need to ask them, can I call you? Are you going to be the one that's answering the phone? In 10 days, am I still going to be talking to you, or am I going to be talking to somebody else that you're going to pass me to the manager of the yellow highlighters, right? Who am I dealing with? And can you, is this approved? Do you truly have all the documentation? And you can hear, I feel like, someone's intelligence in the responses when they're talking to you. Sometimes I'm even calling you before you call me. My agents that know me, like that work with me regularly, they copy me on the emails, and I'm reaching out to listing agent. Why? Because I'm confident in what I'm putting out. My job is to make sure that loan is going to close. And when someone is confident, you're going to hear that, because who cares? What if someone's pre-approved for $1 million if the loan doesn't close? I'm not here to not close transactions, and I'm not here to not be a good reflection of anyone that's referring his business. And I know Harvey takes a lot of pride in that too. So when you have those conversations, you can't tell me that you don't hear that difference in the phone when you're talking to someone that knows what they're talking about and they don't.
It's totally different conversation.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah, we reach out. We're reaching out to all the listing agents. As soon as we get a transaction that comes through, I immediately call the listing agent, because we have to know what number to call for the appraisal contact. We have to know if there's an HOA. We might need some information on that if it's in a subdivision. We might need the condominium information. So again, good communication always is the best path to have a really great transaction. I said we're going to keep it really great here. Talk about how fun it is to buy a house, because it is. And I've had some great closings recently with a lot of young buyers too, and some step-up buyers. But it's really exciting, and that's what home ownership is all about. This show's sort of the consumer advocate show that allows you to tell things that are going on. If you did make a mistake and not get that true approval letter where they go through everything with you, maybe we can clean it up.
Yeah, and sometimes your offer might get passed on because of who you're using for lending, as sad as that is, because you're literally going against sometimes 30 people, right? Everyone, and they're not all the same. So sometimes a listing agent, they know if it's with a company that's reputable versus someone that they've had bad experiences with. Unfortunately, that might go as a negative against you. I mean, so who you work with and who you feel comfortable with matters. And now whether it's us or somebody else, I'm not saying call 47 people, right? Because sometimes when you talk to too many people, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and it muddies the water for you. So find who you're going to use, who you feel comfortable, who has your best interest, and then travel in that direction and make sure you're with good people that you trust.
If you're calling your loan officer in the evening, or if they're not reaching out to you and you're not having these deep conversations, that loan officer is probably not qualified. If real estate agents want to know maybe a warning sign, take a look at their NMLS number. I swear by it, because if the NMLS number is 1,800,000 or more, they have not been in the business for more than 3 or 4 years. They're just not going to have the background, the history. I'm not going to say that about all of them, because, again, usually 10% of those folks do a great job, but 90% of the people that are newer to an industry still need to figure things out. It's just the way it is. 248-539-9797. Again, Mike Tomchek, Paramount Appraisals. David Antonek, Brookstone Realty. They buy and sell houses. They're always involved in transactions. What could bring you back in the conversation? What can make my house nicer this year, maybe this winter, going into this coming year? Is it going to be the floors? Is it the roof? Tell me right now some of the hot things that can make my house maybe sell for a little bit more money.
Well, the selling for a little bit more money would be more of a question for David, but as far as valuing it is what you're asking.
There we go. Where's the value?
Value. Bringing us back.
Yeah, that's right. So the value of the home is going to be based on, of course, the other sales. Now, if your home is, I don't want to get into too many terms of art here, but the particular condition that your house is in, okay, is very important in most sales, okay? And if your house is in disrepair, or it has a lot of depreciation, what we call depreciation, and you have some things that need to be fixed, fix all of it up. Now, there's some simple things that don't cost a ton of money. Kitchen is what David and I were just talking about. That is a super expensive item. It's not going to get you a return on investment. Okay, but doing your floors, doing your paint, making sure your house is clean, and fixing anything that's broken can get you into what we call is a C3 condition, and that's ultimately what you're going to look for if your home is a typical average home. Okay, so make sure it's in good condition.
So really, even so, like, so everyone's thinking, okay, I'm going to invest in this kitchen or the master bath, and that's going to get me just like take me to the moon as far as what I can get for the, like everyone's looking for that price point, right? The high price point. And you're saying really, truly, almost the basic things like simple as paint could actually put you in the next bracket.
And the reason I'm saying that is because paint is not expensive. Now, if anyone has noticed the construction costs out there, doing a kitchen right now is ridiculous. It is so expensive to do it. And you're looking for a homogeneous area, which means that homes are the same or similar. That's what we're looking for. If you're going to do a brand new, beautiful kitchen and all the homes in the area don't have those, you're going to spend a lot of money to not get a big return on investment. That's what's called the law of diminishing returns. That just means the returns that you're getting back are not going to equal what you're putting in.
Tough to take that step and be the one who puts all that money into the neighborhood and be that one that gets the top dollar for the neighborhood, but they're out there. Yeah. All right, take care of your properties. Beautiful day outside. Definitely give us a call back here at 248-539-9797. Buying or selling homes, that's what we do. Welcome back to the show, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289. That's it, just 4 digits. Been around a long time. Deal with the real pros. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker, equal housing lender. I think I said it all on that.
You got it.
I got it all.
Like the first time I say it, I'm
You
always
do it,
like,
Becky.
yeah, it's like the Micro Machines man. You're like,
Got these great guys in here. David Antonick, Brookstone Realty. I deal with Nick in your office. You guys don't even know each other. You're so big.
No, we're big. We're getting bigger. We're getting bigger, and we've got a lot of sharp agents, which is cool.
You really do. I like that. I agree. I'm going to come by and see your brokers and give me maybe a handshake. I'm giving them some love here, right?
Yeah, no,
just a little bit of love.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Hey, listen, Harvey, hold on.
Yeah, go, baby.
bring him a pop.
I want to step back
Pop.
and ask a question of Mike. You and sort of dive deep into the appraisals. Here's as a listing agent, I will do a comparative analysis, and the homeowner will want to know why their house is not priced accordingly to the other houses that have new kitchens, new basements. What's a finished basement? How come my value that you're bringing to me before it's on the market isn't as high as I want? So you mentioned C3, and I don't want to get too far down the appraisal rabbit hole, but let's talk for one second. What's the difference between C1, C2, C3, and C4? So somebody out there listening that's living in a house built in 1954, 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch with a finished basement, they're not going to appraise against the house that's a block over, that's a tear down, or that's a strip out that had all the studs removed in a total rehab. So let's talk for a second on that so people can get an idea.
Yeah, okay, we'll unpack that for sure. And I'll make it quick and won't use too many terms of art. Okay, so C1 is a new construction home. If you have a new construction home, that's the condition rating for that. A C2 is...
So C stands for condition.
Condition, that's exactly right. Thank you. And then the C2 is a complete renovation. Okay, when people say down to the studs, like really down to the studs, not just saying it so you can sell your house, but like actually down to the studs. Every functional component in it is brand new, your kitchen's new, all of it's new. Okay, that's what that means. You have completely rehabilitated that home. C3 is a good condition home. That's your typical home here in Michigan, okay? You have some updated components. Maybe you have an updated bathroom. The kitchen might be a little outdated, but it's in good condition, okay? That's a good condition. That's what we're looking for. The C4, also a very common one. This is where the arguments ensue, okay? With the appraiser has a little bit of subjectivity in this report, and this is determining the condition, okay? Yeah. The C4 is a home that's experiencing some physical depreciation. What does that mean? That means you have some peeling or chipping paint, you have a gutter that's hanging, your furnace and your water heater are older, maybe your kitchen is completely updated, but your bathroom is older and some of the flooring is older, okay?
Got it.
So that's the difference there, and that's the one that gets everyone hung up. So when you say, Becky, what can someone do to get this home ready to get a better value out from the appraiser? And I'm saying things like go through and paint and take care of some flooring and make sure everything's repaired. Let's make it look like you cared for the home. Okay?
There you go.
That's a very important part of it. Okay, and then below C4, we don't need to get into, right?
No.
C5, you shouldn't be living in it. C6 is a teardown.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so now for our listeners, they're looking at the values of their home, right? I was expecting a $400,000 appraised value. Why are you saying my house is only worth $380,000? I have a finished basement with an egress, and there's a bathroom down there. I need to know why you have my home as a 1,400 square foot when there's clearly another 1,000 square feet in my basement that's beautiful, right? So explain that to our listeners, because that's always a common question.
You just made my day and any appraiser listening's day right now. Okay, this is the number one question. When I go into homes, which is a lot of them, okay, the number one question asked from a homeowner is, I have a finished basement with a bathroom and or a bedroom. Does this count in my square footage? I was told, this just happened to me on Thursday, my cousin told me that counts in my square footage. Okay, no, that does not count in your square footage. A basement, whether it's a walkout basement or not, is a basement. We have a thing called ANSI standards. I won't get into the weeds on that, but what it is it tells us what we can and cannot count as square footage. Here in Michigan, basements are common. Anything in the basement, whether it's a walkout or not, if it is completely finished, you have a finished walkout basement or a finished basement. And the reasoning, okay, is we cannot double dip. What does that mean? If I count that as square footage, then you now have say if it's a ranch. Now you have a 2-story home with no basement.
Got it.
Okay, I can't say you have a ranch with a finished basement and count the square footage because then we're counting it twice.
Okay.
That's it. We're looking just for uniformity.
I learned the hard way, Mike, after putting a ton of money, I don't know, 65, 70,000 in a walkout basement a few years back, and the appraisal came back $15,000 higher. I had that answer for me right away. And again, all the walls have to be above ground in order for it to be counted as square footage. And it's a simple way to do it. If you gut your 2,000 square foot walkout and built 6 bedrooms there, you don't all of a sudden have a 10-bedroom house.
Right.
So just because you decide how you're going to finish your basement again, unless it's all 4 walls above ground, it's not square footage in Michigan. We just help some real estate agents too. Is it considered living space? Yeah, if your buddy's down there and a drunken sober in the bedroom, yes, he slept in your basement bedroom last night.
Okay,
still
so to
adds
think,
value.
yeah, I was
Still
going to
adds
say,
some value.
Still
Yeah.
adds
Oh, there we
value.
go.
It's just in a different location on the report. It's not counted as living area square footage above grade. It's just counted as a
Living
finished,
space.
Yeah, like a finished basement.
like
you
a
know,
nice
and-
amenity.
That's right. It's a nice amenity. That's exactly right. And I would add a caveat there real quick.
Go on.
There's someone listening. There's a lot of split levels in Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's 3 different types that we're familiar with: the bi-level, the tri-level, and the quad level. The
Yes.
bi-level and the tri-level are both considered to have all of the square footage in the home is counted as square footage. All of the bedrooms and bathrooms are counted in the count, and it has no basement.
Ah.
Okay, now, and this is where the caveat is. A tri-level, everyone knows, has part of the lower level is below grade. But just because we consider all of them to be a certain way, we must consider a tri-level to have that. Otherwise, we're not going to have any type of uniform way of valuation.
All right, always tons of stuff to share with you here up till 10 o'clock. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Come and join the show, 248-539-9797. We are going to go to a caller. We've got Alan on the line. Good morning, Alan, and welcome to our show. Got him coming up. Oh, nope, not quite yet. Sit tight there. We are going to have Alan. Eric, we can go with him. I announced him and everything. I don't know. Eric's writing down everything about him, though. But we'll have him coming up right here in a second. 248-539-9797. Yeah, go for it. Patch him in. Hey, Alan, good morning. Welcome to our show.
Hey, how you doing?
Really good. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Well, I actually don't have a question. I'm an appraiser in the area, and a lot of times you guys are talking about lower values and things like that, and what people can do. My thing is, you get a lot of real estate agents that will submit a reconsideration of value.
Yeah.
But the comps they're providing are not even reliable indicators of value. They're not real real comps that we can use. I think the biggest thing is for real estate agents to really educate themselves on what we as appraisers consider a true comp. I'll get sales that are 600 square feet larger than the property, and it's not a true comp. Or I'll get a sale that is 3 miles away, and they'll want me to use that. And it happens all day long to where I need to comment on these inappropriate sales, that why they're not, reliable. And for a real estate agent, not knowing what a true comp is really doing their clients a disservice.
God bless you, Alan. All right.
Especially when they're saying I can get you $200,000 for this house, it'll sell for $200,000 when realistically it's $160,000, $170,000.
Yeah, so I'm going to take that, Alan. I'm so glad you called in. This is the best call we've ever had since I've ever done this.
Of course, because it's an appraiser. Keep going, cowboy.
Bless him. Okay, so we were talking about this earlier in the show. If your home is located on a main road, I don't want comps that are located inside of a neighborhood. If your home doesn't have a basement and all the homes in the areas have basement, or all the comps you're giving me have basements, why did you overlook? Here's the word that I think Alan would like to hear. Why are you overlooking better, more comparable sales to hand me something that is less comparable?
Right.
Okay, that's the question that we as appraisers are tasked with, right? We have to tell you what is most similar to our subject. And now, okay, we cannot overlook. That's the word I want everyone out there to understand, and especially real estate agents. Do not overlook a better, more relevant sale in order to get something to satisfy your confirmation bias, also, which is your sale price. Okay, that's what we're looking for.
Sometimes you get lucky on these appraiser. Alan, great call. Let you have your last words. Go ahead.
thanks,
Oh,
Alan.
Alan, we let Alan go. Okay, 248-539-9797. David, you're getting beaten up here a little bit, but we always talk about, David, you've been around. You understand the education and all that.
Listen, I'm
You know,
gonna
But it's
poke
not him,
you
though.
guys
Yeah, he's
until
not
I
him.
get an answer.
You know what, guys,
I'm
we're
gonna find out.
we're
These are
gonna
the
go to this-
questions that I deal with.
Fair enough. We're going to a break. Is that good? Can you hold that thought?
I am gonna hold it.
Hold that thought. All right, David Antonick, when we come
Getting
back.
heated. You
Brookstone
talk
Realty.
about values, man. It gets
What?
crazy real quick.
All right, keep it here on 97.1. All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm Harvey Freed. She's Becky Alley, and she's great to talk to if you ever want to buy a house. I'm okay to talk to, Becky.
Yeah, I'm okay.
But you're great.
You're not. I mean, I live for some of your conversations. I'm not going to lie.
Helping people be successful homeowners is what makes it really fun here. David Antonick, Brookstone Realty, and of course Mike Tomczyk, Paramount Appraisals, always giving us those hard conversations. And we talk about, you need to have those hard conversations in real estate.
This has been a good conversation,
It's
though.
fun. It's fun to buy a house. We always say that.
It's really what's happening right now. I wanted to bring up something that we were talking about, like in between. I feel like things get a little bit more exciting when we're not rolling, right? So we're talking about sales prices, right? And everyone knows that buyers, I have empathy for buyers right now, right? They're really having a tough time. You have interest rates are changing. The housing market is increasing exponentially so rapidly, right? So now we have, everyone wants top dollar. Sellers want top dollar, right? So now you have homes where buyers are literally going in, we'll say 20,000 over asking because they want to stand out, right? So now you have this home, they did an appraisal guarantee. Now they're on the hook. So this buyer particularly says, okay, I'm going to pay $20,000 over asking. Well, now that becomes a comp, correct? That is something that is going to boost those sales now.
If they, in fact, close and pay $20,000 over asking, that is exactly how you increase a market. Okay, when we were discussing this earlier in the break, it was just perfect, simple economics. Okay, and this is how it works. Something is worth what somebody is willing to pay. Everyone knows that, right?
Right.
Well, if I'm willing to pay $20,000 over asking, why isn't it worth that? The reason is because in free market, as soon as you add a third party, which in this case is the lender, you're no longer using your own money to buy it. Somebody is always willing to spend more of somebody else's money than they are of their own.
True.
Okay? If everyone was just buying homes on cash, then you would get a true free market with real estate. But that's not how it works. So it's all about risk. Who's going to take the risk? The borrower needs to bring the extra cash to take the risk, not the lender.
Let's use a raw number. $300,000. There's two. Everything in the sub selling for $300,000, but there's two homes that sold for $325,000. My offer's $325,000. It's identical to those other two that sold for $325,000. Will that appraiser typically come in at $325,000? Is that what it takes? Two comps, similar, the identical house. Will that make it work?
Most likely. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other factors in there. Is the same condition.
Okay.
Remember when Alan called? We were talking about dominating characteristics, right? Are they comparable? Do they have the same characteristics? Do those two that sold for $325,000 have finished walkout basements and ours has an unfinished interior access only basement? Because that changes value. Do they have the same number of baths? All right. And I'm not talking about things that, like we were talking about in the break. And I'm talking about things like intrinsic value. Like you have a beautiful outdoor kitchen that you spent all this money on that cannot add any value.
Like we're gonna talk about pools and bomb shelters and all that stuff.
Value to the buyer, and that's where you're getting the overbids. Is value to the buyer. If you do a nice house, I tell all the rehabbers, if you do a nice house, you'll get an overbid. Mm-hmm. If you do nice kitchen cabinets, if you put in a nice bathroom, we can't get into the weeds about numbers. Yeah. But let's talk about house inflation. The rehabber does a nice job on the house of the $300,000 house. And the buyer comes in and says, listen, I'm working, my husband's working, we need to have a turnkey house. This is turnkey. We can afford $375,000. So that's when we're getting the overbid of $50,000.
Yeah.
Now, in 6 months, that is now a comp, right? It closes, and you have
immediately.
That is now your comp.
The day it closes, it's a comp.
The day it closes, it's a comp. But months down the road, when it closes, it's now a comp for the neighbor when he sells his house, or he's looking on Zillow, right?
Forget
or
Zillow.
a refi, right?
Yeah, when he refis.
So this is where the rubber meets the road on house inflation. Is the cash buyers, to your point, are taking the risk for over and above an appraisal, and then the other house, he rehabs his house. You now have how many comps do I need to really increase?
You need more than one. I mean, we preferably want two. Now, It used to be where you would have one, and then everything else supported it. And the problem there is you would get straw buyers back in the day. You remember straw buyers?
Oh, yeah.
Like a builder would come in and build a brand new development. The first house they would buy with a straw buyer and set the market. And then everyone would use that as a comp, and then everything else sells for that. So they did away with that. They want to have two. And preferably things that have loans on them. If you have two all cash buyers, that's looking a little suspicious too. So you're going to have to justify that.
All right, let's talk about some other great stuff. U.S. homeownership has surged to 65.5%. That's the highest. 66% of the families out there, Becky, are owning a home. It's a great diversification, especially as my 401k is getting beaten up here since the year started. Stock market, hey, they get beaten up. Anyone calling their stockbroker this week and saying bad things to them, they're beating us up when the rate burps up a little bit. But I mean, it happens obviously in crazy markets. There's a conflict. Geopolitical events always affect our marketplace. Who knows? I mean, who knows what things are going to look like in another couple days? It could be this afternoon, as Russia can't keep their side of the bargain and just stay on their side of the fence. So again, bad neighbors. Sometimes that even happens in subdivisions, right? And you could have a real stinker next door to you, David Antonick. Sometimes someone just over-improves for the neighborhood. Their neighborhood hasn't sold for that. It's hard. Those are tough too. I know they want to get their money out of the house, David. You want to get the listing. You got to really have those great conversations.
You have to start with a great conversation, and you have to apply that to what they want. To your point, you can't buy out your neighbors. You have to buy it, right? If you move
How many
into
times
a
have
neighbor,
people thought about, I'm going to buy the house next door, I'm going to knock it down and make one giant
I
the
just
West
put
Wing?
somebody in a lease this last week that sold their house because of the neighbor. They're like, it's the first time I've ever heard it. We sold our house because of a neighbor. We loved him, but it was just not our lifestyle. So you've got to be aware of what's around you.
I mean, you never know.
I mean, that's some kind of neighbor, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
well, you better drive
intense.
Hey, David, that's why we tell families, look, if you fell in love with the house, hurry up and get your offer. And if your offer is not accepted, we don't have a deal anyways. But then once your offer is accepted, great. That evening, drive by the house. That morning,
that's
drive
right.
by.
Do your
See
research.
what your neighbor's doing. Is he having a rave at 2 a.m?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a part of that lifestyle? I don't know.
The raving next door, Becky. I'm moving next to you guys, Beck. Hey, we got time for a quick caller here. Let's move off. You got her? Can you just plug her through? You want to just plug her through, Eric? I don't know. We might have time for her. Vicky, if not, we'll call you after the show. 248-539-9797. Again, second homes. Let's just go there real quick. Vacation homes. Been a great way to really not only gain some wealth, but you can use it in these cold weathers. This has been a long winter, pretty much for everyone here in Michigan. Again, the snow every a few days. We're shoveling. Give me 10 inches of snow. I'll clean it up. But it's been 2 to 3 inches every week and a lot of work here. So, hey, buying that vacation home, Becky, maybe renting it out when you're not using it. What a great way to invest in real estate.
Yeah, Airbnbs are so popular right now. We deal with a lot of investors that, kind of when you're not living in the house, a second home, you have to occupy it for some of the year, right? If you're not and you want to use it, Airbnb it to your friends and things like that, you can do that. And there's a lot of people. I mean, in Michigan, we are so blessed to have a great landscape where we are so many lakes, literally so many lakes. It's crazy. We'll just say so many, where you can literally have your primary residence and be on a lake at the same time. I mean, and if you don't, you want to drive 4 hours, you're in a totally different element. Everything slows down. The air smells better, right? And what a beautiful thing that you can be a part of that. And I feel like, the pandemic really kind of shined a light on wanting that lakefront property that maybe you can't have in a residential area.
All right, our roads look like some of the San Andreas faults out there. Be careful if you're traveling on Michigan roads.
My sister put a post out. She's like, hey, everyone, there's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath pothole on this road if anyone's interested. And that was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Definitely be careful out there. Watch the roads out there. I don't even know what's going on.
They're really bad right now.
This is really, really bad times here in Michigan. But other than that, we're always bragging about what a great state we have. As the sun is shining today, it's a great day to call and get a strong approval letter. Reach out to David Antonick. If you call Capital Mortgage Funding, we'll set you up with these great real estate agents. There's a huge difference when you deal with the pros out there. This is a lifelong decision you're making, or at least you're going to sell it in a few years. But this is very important stuff. Usually all of our wealth is tied up into our home. So very important, Becky, that you get the right people.
Literally, it's like we understand that we are dealing with your biggest investment and most people's biggest investment. Your home is your biggest thing that you're ever going to purchase in your life 9 out of 10 times for most average Americans. And we don't take that lightly. So when you're calling, you're actually speaking to me. You're actually speaking to Harvey. You're not getting passed off to someone that really doesn't know your story. And we're really going to fight for you to act the best of the best. So whether you're refinancing or you're purchasing, just know that we really do care. Like you're not just a name and number. You're not going to get lost in the sauce with us as far as like once we're done talking to you initially, because we're going to be kicking you over to our real estate agents, David, right? Where setting you up with real professionals that are going to make you stand out, because you have to stand out right now in this kind of market.
David, give us a real quick story about a buyer and wrap it up. Or seller, whatever you got.
Here's what I tell every buyer is that I'm here to help you with your puzzle. Whether you have a 1,500-piece puzzle or a 1,000-piece puzzle or a 4-piece puzzle, I'm here to help you put those pieces into place. You're on the lending side, you're here to help me put the lending part of that puzzle together. As long as we can find out exactly what you want, exactly where you are, we can get you where you want to go.
Yeah. I view myself as like Magneto. So anyone that likes X-Men, right? Like, so like the lender's like Magneto, right? We got to bring it all to us. So our efficiency is contingent upon all of yours. So the more you get it to us, the quicker you get it to us, the better we can be for you.
All right. Always fast version here of the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Catch us at Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Let me go ahead and announce everyone. Mike Tomchek, Paramount Appraisers, thank you. David Antonek, Brookstone Realty, thank you a lot. And for Harvey Freed, Becky Ailey, we'll catch you next Saturday. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket.